Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is Team Doing Like a Boss instead of Team Real Yu-Gi-Oh! We switched it up a little bit because it wasn't matching up his ass. So we had to switch it up to something more fresh, you dig? Anyway, here's my brother's zombie deck profile, and I'll let him take over.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Jordan McRae here, bringing you my Synchro Zombie deck profile. I like this deck because it is very explosive in the graveyard. You don't have to have much on the field or in your hand, and you can OTK with it very easy. But let's get into the main deck. I'll show you guys why. Alright.
Focus. There it is.
I start out with 2 Plague Spreader. The reason that I don't run 3 is because I find that it's a little bit too, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Cloggy, yeah. If you end up running 3, you hit dead ones, and then you just don't want that if you want a consistent good deck. But these guys set off all the combos with the synchros and all that, so 2 staples, you definitely need those or else you can't have a deck. 3 Mizuki. Mizuki is needed in this deck. Mizuki, you send it to the graveyard, you get a special summon off of it, basically like a monster reborn by banishing it. So this, go into Plague Spreader, bring back anything else. It's just basically a staple in the deck. You need it, bring back everything, change combos. Two Zombie Master. Don't run 3 because I find that 3 is kind of cloggy as well. He is also good if you have any dead monster in your hand. Use his ability to pitch it, and then you get to get any zombie back from the graveyard, which allows you to go into those Plague Spreaders, sync for 6 or sync for 8 plays that can be very deadly. So this card is a must in the deck. 2 Goblin Zombie. Once again, I don't run 3 because I feel the deck has enough searchers. 3 is also kind of slow. I just find that you end up searching yourself out with it. So 2 is more than enough. He's good because it allows you to get a Zombie Master to hand, a Mizuki to hand if you need it, anything like that. So this card is also a must-have, but 2 over 3.
So you guys know, try about the shakiness.
2 Pyramid Turtle. Don't run 3 once again because it kind of defeats the purpose. It's kind of cloggy, makes the deck look slower than what it should be. 2 is perfectly fine. It allows you to get out any monster that you need. The Goblin Zombie to kick out its effect, Mizuki to put it in the graveyard, Plague Spreader to do the same thing. This card really helps. Half the time whenever it's on the field, your opponent doesn't want to attack into it just because they know what it can do. So that's a real good card to have out there. Alright, that's it for the zombie engine. Now for the rest of the monsters. 3 Malicious. I feel like you need to run this card in the deck. It is what sets off the combo with Plague Spreader. You put 1 to the graveyard by Foolish Burial or Zombie Master effect, or by just milling. Get it in the grave. After that, banish it, bring out another one, sync it with Plague Spreader, and then you can start your combos from there. 2 Card Trooper. Card Trooper I find is necessary in this deck. Card Trooper helps mill a lot faster. You also get a 19 beat stick out of it if you do that, and also whenever it's destroyed you also get that +1 to your hand. So Card Trooper in this deck is very, very good. 2 Raikou. The reason that I run Raikou is because whenever he's flipped up, you get to pop 1 card on your opponent's side of the field, so your opponent's already -1, and then you also get to mill, so you get the same thing as Card Trooper. You're basically putting your Mizukis, Malicious, Plague, putting all those cards in the graveyard, so this card's really good. 1 Lila. Lila is good because it also goes with the Light Swarm with the Raikou and the spell cards that you can use with it, and her effect is very good. You just change her to defense mode using its effect, so you can summon it in attack mode and then change it to defense mode during the same turn, and then whenever that happens you get to pop one of your opponent's spell or trap back row. So that's also good because you go in for the OTK, summon her, and you're helping get rid of the back row all that much easier. Oh, by the way, if she does stay on the field for a turn, you get to mill 3 cards, which is also helping you, same as Raikou and Card Trooper, to get to your combos faster. 1 Endless Decay. I run him because he's beefy. Just like my brother said, if your opponent runs over a Pyramid Turtle early, special summon him, you have a 4,000 beat stick. Or if you're coming in, if you're losing late in the game, your opponent still has a lot of their life, he can get you out of the situation real easy, so that's a really good card to have. And Dark Arm Dragon. He is very good to run in this deck. You can manipulate your graveyard so easy with this deck. Banish Mizuki to bring out Darks. Book of Life to bring out Darks. Zombie Master to bring out Darks. Malicious Banish itself to bring it out. You can manipulate the graveyard so easy with this deck. It's so easy to get him out. Most people think he's a bother to have because you have to have exactly 3, but in this deck it's real easy. Alright, those are the monsters. Now on to the spells. 2 Book of Life. Don't run 3 because sometimes you hit those dead draws, and once again in this game you need to have consistency. So I find that 2 is better. It's basically a monster reborn for zombies, and then you also get to banish one monster card in your opponent's graveyard. So running these is a real plus. 3 MST.
Staples.
I don't really need to explain these. If you're a good Yu-Gi-Oh player, you know what this does. You just pop back row.
Yo, chill with that. You don't hurt my feelings out here.
Just for anybody that watches this video, if you take the time to watch this video, you're taking the time to become a better player. So in my eyes, if you're watching this video, you're a good duelist. 1 DDR and 1 Burial from a Different Dimension. And these cards are real good. DDR helps with the combos. If you banish a Mizuki, you can pitch a Dead Malicious or a Dead Endless Decay or anything in your hand to bring any monster that's banished back. And then whenever it gets destroyed, it goes to the graveyard, so you can get that reusable Mizuki power. Same thing with Burial from a Different Dimension. You can bring back the play set, all 3 of your Mizuki, and you can just go crazy and go off with the combo that way. So these 2 cards are real important in this deck, just because not only do you get to control the graveyard, but you get to control your banished. 1 Book of Moon, it's just a staple. It helps in a bunch of situations. 1 Charge of the Light Brigade. I run it because I run the 2 Raikou and the 1 Lila. It helps mill the top 3 cards of your deck, helping to get to the combos faster. And then you also get to add the Lila or the Raikou to hand, depending on what you need for whatever situation you're in. 1 Foolish Burial. I run it because it's simply, it's basically you get a free Mizuki to the graveyard, or your free Plague Spreader to the graveyard, whatever you need, a free Malicious. So you just drop that, and it just helps get to your combos that much faster. And Dark Hole, just a staple. Alright, that's it for the spells. Now on to the traps. I run 2 Mirror Force.
Staple.
Need those, just stop your opponent from OTKing. 2 Call of the Haunted. This card is probably one of the best trap cards that you can have in this deck. You could run it at 3, but I just prefer 2. Call of the Haunted is real good for bringing back your Zombie Master if it's stuck in the graveyard and you don't have Mizuki. You can bring back Plague Spreader without having to use its own effect to have it later be banished. You can bring back Endless Decay if it's still going to be a beat stick. This just helps go into so many different plays, and it also helps towards the graveyard manipulation to bring out Dark Arm Dragon. So these cards are very good in the deck. 2 Fiendish Chain. These are just staples. Most decks now run effect monsters, so this just slows down a lot of people. Now down to the ones. Bottomless, Solemn, and Torrential. You just need these, once again, just to slow your opponent down, and they're good staples.
Guys, once again, sorry about the shake hands.
Alright guys, that was the main deck. Now time for the extra deck. The extra deck is what's going to make all the noise here, because you're going to go into Plague and Malicious, or Plague and a 4-star, just like I said before. But alright, 1 Stardust Spark Dragon. His effect is just good. He protects him or any other card on the field from being destroyed once per turn, so he's a necessary. Stardust. Everybody knows what Stardust does. Just negates something from destroying, and then it'll come right back the next turn, so it's real good. Especially it's real whenever you have both of these on the field at the same time. So those are 2 solid level 8s. Dark End Dragon, he's good because he's like a Black Ship of Corn. He sends to the graveyard, so that gets around so many cards nowadays. You can just send something to the graveyard by giving up 500 attack points. Void Ogre Dragon. This card helps for the OTK. Whenever you use this deck to OTK, most of the times anyways, you have no cards in your hand. So you get his effect. You can negate an opponent's spell or trap card once per turn. Scrap Dragon. This card's good. You just pop something on your opponent's side of the field. It helps OTK. And Crimson Blader. Crimson Blader stops a lot of the people that you're going to be playing. They can't normal summon or special summon 5-star. So it slows down your opponent a lot.
That's super rare.
The reason he's looking at it is because that's the super rare from the Astral Pack that it just came out. So not a lot of people have that yet, but that's a good card. Those are the 8-stars. For the 6, I only run 2. I run Revive King Hadez. He's very good. If you read him, you actually need a Plague Spreader specifically. So that's a good thing. But he's real good because if he runs over something, whatever he runs over, it negates its effect, even if it is a graveyard effect. So anything that he comes into battle with, you won't have to worry about its effects at all. And then one Celestial, the Blue Wolf. I just prefer to run this. This is kind of a personal preference. I like it because if it gets destroyed, you can take 2,400 attack points off of one monster on the field. Slows your opponent down a lot. And then that's it for the Synchros. Now time for the Exceeds. 2 Lavalval Chain. I know that this is kind of an expensive card, so some people that are trying to run the budget form of this deck might not have it, but Lavalval Chain is super good in this deck. It's a Foolish all in itself. It's a Foolish Burial. You can send a Mizuki, you can send whatever you want to the graveyard, so this will help the deck go by a lot faster. Steel Swarm Roach.
Heretics.
Heretics. Heretics and Heretics. Not only that, basically any other deck nowadays, since they all summon, just stops it and slows everything down.
Heretics.
Black Ship of Corn. I like Black Ship of Corn just because it sends, so if your opponent's sitting on something that's kind of weaker but it's still slowing you down, Black Ship of Corn, bring that out there, it sends it straight to the grave, you don't have to worry about that. Abyss Dweller, Mermails. That's basically why you need an Abyss Dweller. Slows down Mermails tremendously. Maestroke, that's just the generic 4-star in there to protect yourself.
Still good, still good.
It's still good, but if your opponent is kind of like going crazy, you can do this to kind of slow them down. It gives you field presence for a couple turns.
Reprint.
And Gaga Cowboy. He's a staple in there just because if your opponent is under 800, you can do that quick 800 for game, which also helps. And that's the extra deck. Now time for the side deck. My side deck's not complete. The rest of it's on its way from TrollingToad.com. We should be getting the order from them here soon. They're a good website to order off of. I really like them. 2 Maxi. Need Maxi to side deck for the Heretic players, anything like that. Anybody that special summons like crazy. 2 Divine Wrath. You run this because you have to discard a card from your hand. So if you have the Dead Malicious or anything like that, you can discard it, negate an opponent's monster, and destroy it. Slows your opponent down a lot. Dust Tornado. Side these in for Fire Fist players, for their tankies, anything like that. You can pop those. It helps with the MSTs. Deck Lockdown. Use this just because depending on who you're playing, they can't add cards from their deck to their hand. This will mess a lot of people over. It doesn't really hurt this deck too much because whenever something's going from the deck, it's usually going to the graveyard, not to your hand. So this will slow certain opponents down a lot. Overworked. Side this in for Fire Fist. If they have a tanky out on the field, they all get powered up. You use this, destroys all their monsters. Light Imprisoning Mirror. Don't run Dark Imprisoning or it would kind of hurt this deck too, but this is really good against Bujins and some other type of decks. If it's a light attribute basically, it negates its effects on the field or in the graveyard, so that's a really good card. Soul Release. Most people wouldn't even think about siding this in, but if you look at it, it's actually good. It takes 5 of your opponent's monsters and banishes it. Most decks nowadays need the graveyard, so to take away your opponent's graveyard, it puts you at a good +1. And my last one is Dark Light. I run this because it destroys all special summon monsters on the field, and all you have to do is tribute a Dark with 1500 attack or more, which most of the times isn't going to hurt you anyways because you.
Alright guys, well that's the deck. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment and tell me what you guys think. And we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Alright, team doing like a boss. Out.